Almost 6:48 on a Sunday night, and it's time to talk weather. Hello, hello. Carson Meredith with you. Hope all is well on this Sunday evening. Wrapping up this extended holiday weekend. Hope you got to enjoy some time off. Looking ahead to this week, things are going to be changing a little bit in the weather world. So I hope you took advantage of the decent weather that we had this weekend. Was it pleasant? To each their own. Beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, I guess. But it could have been worse. We could have been tracking storms, and we did not have to do that this weekend, but we're going to have to do that by Tuesday and Wednesday. I've got some new data to share with you as we look to that threat for strong storms on Tuesday. And that's all thanks to Beryl, of course. We'll have the latest on Beryl as it gets closer to the Texas coast, likely going to make landfall while you are sleeping tonight. By the time you wake up Monday morning, Beryl will be very close to landfall, if not already. Comments we go. Weather Geek. Good evening, Carson. Good evening, Weather Geek. Perfect July day. See, Weather Geek likes today's weather. Perfect for him. Love it. Some people don't for some reason. I don't get it. But anyway, Shonda says, good evening from Jeffersonville. DJ King says hello from North Vernon. Ashley says, does it always have to be bad storms on Tuesday nights? You know, I got this weird theory where it seems like not every, but a lot of severe weather threats are on Tuesdays. There is absolutely zero rationale to that theory, but it just seems like it. So I'm with you, Ashley. We did not have a 6 o'clock newscast tonight due to NASCAR. They are in Chicago, and it is pouring. So we'll see how that shakes out this evening. But we will be back on the air tonight at 11. Let's dive deeper into what we're seeing right now. Simpsonville, good evening. What a beautiful view out at the outlet shops, huh? Just a gorgeous Sunday. Little humid, tiny little bit humid. You kind of notice it just ever so slightly, but I call it tolerable for 4th of July weekend standards. Not too bad at all. Some thin clouds streaming in this evening. That's all we got. 90 is our current temperature here in Louisville, so it is certainly warm. We got up to 91 today here in the city as forecast, right on the nose. And you notice those dew points still in the low 60s, so tick humid. Not too bad. If you got any plans this evening, walking around the neighborhood, get the pup out, get some fresh air, should be just fine. Radar, of course, is also just fine. Nice little high pressure, kind of a wedge of high pressure is keeping us quiet. Let me circle that big blue H, 2 big blue H's. There you go. Now that high pressure is going to scoot north and east really throughout the day tomorrow. And that will set the stage for a couple of things. One, a few more clouds, and also more humidity. So that air you can wear may not be in full effect on Monday, but it'll definitely be more humid tomorrow than it has been this weekend. Across the rest of the country, we mentioned those storms causing all kinds of issues in Chicago this evening. Nothing severe in Chicago, but a couple of tornado warnings just to the south and west near the Quad Cities of Iowa and Illinois. And also at the same time, at the bottom of the screen, there's Beryl. It's a pretty compact tropical system, to be honest with you, but you can still see that very heavy rain is about to move inland. They've already seen the first outer bands of Beryl today, and the worst of the heavy rain is still offshore, but it's going to be moving in overnight tonight and very early Monday morning. So we're going to dive deeper into Beryl here in just a second. Let's talk about tonight first. Looks good. Mostly clear, calm, quiet. 68's our forecast low. Most of us will bottom out in the mid-60s as we get towards Monday morning. So not jacket weather, but still pleasant out there to kick off this new work week. But as we get towards tomorrow afternoon, here comes the heat. Here comes the humidity. 94 is our forecast high Monday afternoon here in Louisville. Most of us top out between let's say 88 and 91. That's where most of us top out. Here in the city, of course, a little bit warmer. But with that humidity climbing, it could feel more like the mid to upper 90s tomorrow afternoon. No heat advisories, no alert days for tomorrow. Just keep that in mind, though, if you're going to be out and about during the peak heat of the day. If you're working outside tomorrow afternoon, use caution, stay hydrated. Y'all know that good stuff by now. Just something to keep in mind. For tomorrow, there is a teeny tiny shower chance Monday, mainly south of us. We're talking closer to Bowling Green, closer to the Tennessee state line. I kept a 10% chance in our forecast just in case, but most, if not all of us, will stay dry until Tuesday. And that's when things really start to get busy. Once again, OGC Gamer on YouTube says, is there a tornado threat on Tuesday? Possibly. I don't say that to panic anybody. I don't think it's a huge threat, but we're going to explain why there might be a small tornado chance on Tuesday here in a second. Angela, our native Texan, has gone through Texas tropical storms before. Looks like Lake Jackson is where she grew up, and Houston will be on the dirty side of Beryl. And by the dirty side of the storm, we're talking the heaviest rain, the wind, the spin-up tornadoes. So definitely going to be a long night for our friends down in the Lone Star State. Ashley, yeah, it always on Tuesdays. I don't know why. Valerie says Justin Timberlake is in Lexington already. I thought that was in the fall. I remember we ran a story on it. We don't want the storms. We'll keep an eye on it. The concert's in Rupp, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Valerie. But hopefully that'll keep the concert going, but obviously getting to and from could be a little dicey. We'll watch it. Nancy says hello from Adair County. Watching the storms about to hit Texas. Seems to be getting stronger. It is. It's starting to intensify just a little bit, and we still expect it to become a hurricane before it makes landfall overnight tonight. Before we dive deep into Beryl, I got one last reminder for you. Our Twisters pre-premiere contest ends on Monday. Thousands of you have signed up. Thousands, literally. Tons of you. 2 tickets. You can win 2 tickets, popcorn, and a drink. All you have to do is scan that QR code or go to wave3.com/contest. We're not going to ask for all of your personal info. We're not going to ask for your social security, okay? We just need your name, phone number, email. Tell us which theater you want to go to, either the Escape Theater in Jeffersonville or the one out on Blakenbaker. And you could sign up to have a chance to win 2 tickets to that pre-premiere here in a couple of weeks on July 17th. Last call. The deadline is our 11 o'clock newscast tomorrow night. So you got a little over 24 hours left to sign up. Okay. Here's why we are all here is for Beryl. If you look at the satellite image over the last few hours, it has intensified, or it's starting to become more organized, get its act together as it moves closer to the Texas coast. Guys, the Gulf of Mexico is bathwater right now. The sea surface temperatures are insane. Near 90 degrees is the water temperature in the Gulf right now. And that's really helping the storm to kind of get one more shot of intensity in it before it makes landfall overnight tonight. There have been some models suggesting that it could rapidly intensify into a major hurricane. I don't think it's going to get that extreme. I think it's running out of time. But it definitely does look like it is on its way to becoming a hurricane once again. For now, though, Beryl is still a tropical storm. 65-mile-per-hour winds, gusting up to 75. Remember, the wind criteria to become a hurricane is 74 miles per hour. So it's close. You can see on the satellite image, I'll draw it, circle it to show you. There's that first outer rain band I was talking about moving through Houston this afternoon. Very heavy rain, gusty winds. I'll be honest with you, I haven't checked to see if they've had any tornadoes yet. But yeah, this thing is heading in. It's heading into the Texas coast. Still expect that landfall between Corpus Christi and Houston near Victoria, Texas. Angela, I hope I got that right. I had a former colleague of mine work in Victoria, Texas. That's how I know that. Category 1 hurricane at landfall. And the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center has it making landfall around 2 a.m. our time. So 1 o'clock Texas time. So again, by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there is a fairly high probability that Beryl has already made landfall. Those red colors you see are hurricane warnings. That's where those winds could get to hurricane force. The blue colors that stretch further inland are tropical storm warnings, and those are for wind gusts getting to tropical storm force, 40 miles per hour or higher. But we'll have to watch the storm surge threat, especially along the Texas coast. They could see several feet of surge. Up to 6 or 8 inches of rain is on the table. If there's any saving grace with this thing, though, it's a quick mover. Notice as we go towards Tuesday afternoon in the center of Beryl, what's left of it is over Little Rock, Arkansas. And then by Wednesday afternoon, just as we discussed here on Wave Weather Now last night, the center of Beryl is in central Indiana. So we become much more confident since we last spoke that the center of Beryl is going to stay north of wave country. Could it jog a little south? Yes. Notice we're still in that cone of uncertainty here along the Ohio River. So it could sag south a little bit if it wanted to. It could also scoot a little further north and west, closer to Chicago. Time will tell. But in general, it looks like it's going to stay just north of us. So what does that mean right out of the gate? The good news with this track is it would limit the flooding threat. Now, it's already a fast-moving storm, so that works in our favor too. But, you know, if the center of the weakening storm goes right on top of you, you're going to see a lot more rain, right? That will not be the case for us. That will be north, up towards Indy, up towards Detroit, Cleveland, okay? The flip side of that is if you're on the south side of the center of the storm, your rain coverage is more scattered, yes, but you're going to have more of those scattered storms that could pack a punch. And that's our concern as we get towards Tuesday in particular. Now you're wondering, now wait a minute, you just said the center of Beryl is going to be nearby on Wednesday. Why are we talking Tuesday? Because that moisture is going to be moving in advance of Beryl on Tuesday, setting off those scattered storms by then. And that's the day I'm a little more concerned about in general for that stronger storm potential. There could be storms on Wednesday too, but they won't be quite as impactful. I don't see much of a severe threat on Wednesday. All right, back to the comments we go real quick. Valerie says that concert for Justin Timberlake is in Rupp on Tuesday. So that's good. We don't have to worry about lightning delays or anything like that, just getting to and from the concert, right? We'll talk about it. Ashley says she saw where we've been taken out of the path, put it back in. Could it change again? It could. It could. I'm not going to rule it out, Ashley, but notice how, remember, we're just talking about the center of Beryl here. Notice how the cone, remember last night it was all the way down here in Alabama, Tennessee. It has shrunk significantly today. So that means we're becoming more confident of where this thing is going to go. Could it wiggle a little south, a little north? Yes. But I'll be honest with you guys, we're splitting hairs at this point talking about it because the main issue we'll have is the stronger storms on Tuesday. But still a fair, good question, Ashley. Michelle says she's already entered into the Twisters contest. Good. May the luck be on your side, Michelle, and to everybody who's entered. Tracy's asking about Southern Indiana, rain or tornado kind of stuff. Both. And that's for everybody. Everybody. Southern Indiana, Louisville, Central Kentucky, Southern Kentucky. Everybody's going to see that chance for heavy downpours. Not an all-day heavy rain, but heavy downpours at times. And some of those stronger storms may be severe as well. So we're able to broad brush the threats this go round, which is a good thing. It makes it easier for us to talk to you guys about it. Any chance the severe weather makes its way to southeastern Kentucky? It's not impossible, but I will say the greater threat is across central and western Kentucky as this thing rolls on through. Brandon's talking about those softball games on Tuesday, and wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that makes sense. Jefferson County high school football practices start this week. That's wild. Gives me flashbacks. I played football for one season, and I said, you know what? I'll just stick to school. So that is hard to believe. Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that for Tuesday for sure. Here's the severe weather risk for Tuesday. Now, this is new, gang, from what we had last night. Every single county in wave country is under a level 1 marginal risk on Tuesday. So remember our severe weather scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is a lower risk. 5 is the worst risk you can have. Those are extremely, extremely rare. Level 1 risk for Tuesday is for those scattered storms that we're going to show you that we've been talking about ahead of Beryl that could have heavy downpours, that could have gusty winds. and may have a brief tornado. A lot of times with these tropical systems, they got enough shear with them as they move inland that these outer rain bands have embedded showers and storms that like to spin. And that signal is there. I'm not saying we're going to have a ton of tornadoes, guys. I don't think we'll have many, but we could have a couple. So that's why we got to pay attention. As far as alert day potential for Tuesday, perhaps. Right now, the risk is on the lower end. But if we get an upgrade or we start to become a little more concerned about flooding, anything like that, that might change. So for the time being, no alert day, but still need to pay attention on Tuesday. This is Futurecast, all right? So this is, what is that? 5 o'clock Tuesday morning. Nice and quiet. Tuesday morning commute, good to go, no problem at all. Cloudy, but likely dry. Watch what happens as we go through the morning. This is 10 a.m. You start to see some of those heavier storms developing. If my drawing tool will work, maybe not, out towards Evansville. So those stronger storms developing towards western Kentucky, southern Illinois. And as the day goes on, those storms will continue to pop up kind of randomly and could intensify. So you see this is 3 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. Again, don't take these exact storm placements on Futurecast as gospel. Just gives you a good idea of what we could see. And you see these scattered heavier storms flaring up here or there across all of wave country. So that's why it's kind of a broad brush of threats that we're talking about here. And as the day goes on, as the center of Beryl gets closer to us, you notice that storm coverage starts to increase. So I don't think Tuesday during the day is a washout. In fact, there's a chance some of you could stay bone dry on Tuesday during the day. But as Beryl gets closer to us and passes us to the north, the storm coverage will be at its highest. And that will be Tuesday night and early Wednesday. So this is 7 o'clock Tuesday night. There you see those more widespread storms still primarily out to our west. But look how intense they are. Very heavy rain. Guys, there's going to be a ton of tropical moisture in the atmosphere Tuesday. I mean, these suckers will dump buckets and buckets of rain. Thankfully, that's why we're grateful that the rain shield is going to stay north of us. If it was further south, we'd have some flooding concerns. But these can still cause bonding on the roads. These can still cause minor flash flooding issues. So we can't totally let our guard down. And you notice as we get towards 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening, that rain and storm coverage is at its highest. And we'll have to watch these cells, these rain bands, and then you got little cells within those bands that could have some damaging wind gust and may spin, may have a brief tornado. That's not entirely out of the question. It's a low threat, but it's something we have to pay attention to, okay? This is 11 o'clock Tuesday night. I feel like around that time is the last hurrah, hopefully, for any stronger storms. And you notice we get towards Wednesday morning, the center of Beryl is up towards central Illinois, central Indiana. And we'll kind of be in a dry slot where you got some drier air pushing in from the south and west. And that'll cut down on our rain chances on Wednesday. There could still be a few scattered showers and storms around on Wednesday, but I don't think they'll have quite the punch that the ones on Tuesday might have. So that's where we stand for Tuesday's storm chance. Let me go to the comments. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Shonda says no cows in this one, I think. They're talking about the Twisters movie. We have a cow in our graphic, which is always cool. There may not be flying cows in this in Twisters. We'll see. Is there a chance this could get upgraded to a slight or enhanced risk? Possibly, yes. Slight risk in particular. I don't think it'll get to an enhanced. Especially if we become a little more confident at seeing more widespread storms on Tuesday. But a little too early to say at this point. Andrea is saying she's driving back from Chicago on Tuesday. Should she be concerned? I wouldn't say concern necessarily, Andrea. I wouldn't delay your travel plans. Just make sure you're aware of what's going on down here. If you're driving back from Chicago, so you're coming back to Wave Country. So download the Wave Weather app. You'll get alerts, watches and warnings, things like that. Lightning, heavy rain. You can also live stream us whenever we're on TV or here on Wave Weather Now. If I had to make a recommendation for your travel plans Tuesday, I would say the earlier the better. The earlier the better, especially in the morning, because those storm chances go up in the afternoon and evening. So hopefully that answered your question there. Andrea, as you're heading back from Chicago. Susan says, have a safe trip. Michael says, good thing I got the grass cut today. Yeah, might have some a good dose of rain. And again, it's going to be very scattered, guys. So I think a lot of us will see some kind of rain, but some of you may only see a little, and some of you may see a ton. It's just going to be very uneven with this setup. Todd says, I got to figure Cantori makes a cameo somewhere. I guess you're talking the Twisters movie, Cameron, or Todd, rather. I saw somebody named Cameron in here. Maybe. I don't know if he does or not. That would be cool. I've met Cantori. He's a good guy. Met him at a conference in St. Louis when I was in college. Good guy. Destiny says, I just came on here. We talking about the timing on Tuesday? We are. Let me rewind Futurecast for you. There we go. I think we'll start to see those storm chances go up after lunchtime Tuesday, and we'll keep the scattered storms around through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening on Tuesday. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Angela says, the one thing I do like about tropical systems bringing rain to us here is that the rain smells like the Gulf. Reminds her of the time she lived on the Gulf Coast. It is a good point. The Gulf Coast or any beach area kind of has that unique feel to it, right? It's a good point. Destiny, asking one more time. There you go. I'll play through it here in a second. Shonda says, is Kevin going to be back before Tuesday? Yes. Yes, he is. He'll be back tomorrow. We'll all be here watching it if need be on Tuesday. Wanda says, has the storm passed Jamaica? Yes, it has. It passed Jamaica, I think. It all runs together. I want to say Wednesday of last week. So it's been a few days since it went through Jamaica. Let's see. Todd says he met Dr. Greg Forbes back in April. Yeah, he was up at, I think it was Hanover, right? For the April 3rd, 74 anniversary stuff. I haven't had the privilege to meet Dr. Forbes, but I've heard nothing but good things about him. All right, let's walk through Futurecast one more time. And I've got one other little nugget I want to mention for Wednesday before we wrap things up here. So this is 10 o'clock Tuesday morning. Storms mainly to our west. I think the first half of the day on Tuesday is mostly dry. Maybe a stray storm. I can't rule it out, but the chance is low. It's once you get past 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon when these storms start to get going. This is 3 o'clock. Again, don't take the exact placement of these storms as the end-all be-all here. It's just giving you a general idea of how the day is going to play out. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll be tracking those scattered storms, especially west of I-65 at first. And then as the day goes on, the evening progresses, that coverage becomes more widespread. This will not, though, be one of those deals where we've got one line of storms and then we're done. It's not going to be a squall line, I don't think. But it could be these little waves of rain bands that move through. Maybe you got one rain band, brings some gusty winds, you get a break, here comes another one, so on and so forth. And you kind of notice that by 7 o'clock Tuesday evening. So what's left of that first band during the afternoons out towards I-75, here comes the second round right there. And it's hard to nail down the exact time that each of these individual rounds is going to move through. So especially with a landfalling tropical system like this. But you still notice those scattered heavy storms will be around. The main issue will be heavy rain, of course, but there could be some gusty winds. And I can't totally rule out a spin-up tornado. That risk is low, but it needs to be monitored, especially with a landfalling tropical system such as this. 11 o'clock in the evening, those storms continue, and we should start to see those storms taper off overnight, Tuesday night, early Wednesday, and then we'll just be left with some lingering showers and storms that will likely not be severe on Wednesday. So that is where things stand at this time. All right. Everybody good with that? Type in the comments 345 if you're good with that. I'll take a page from the Brian Good playbook. 345 if you're good with that. And we'll move on to talk about where the heaviest rain will be with Beryl. We mentioned there's a pretty good chance it'll stay north of us. Okay. So as it stays north of us, the heaviest rain goes through Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. But you still notice Wednesday afternoon a few scattered storms here in wave country. Not a lot. It's not going to be a washout on Wednesday, I don't think, but it will be cooler. Nice and comfortable. Well, I don't want to say comfortable, but tolerable, right? It will be humid, but it will be in the low 80s instead. You got some cooler air wrapping around the backside of what's left of Beryl, around the backside of the low pressure. So it will be cooler on Wednesday, but there still could be a few scattered non-severe storms around. And as Beryl moves through, it is going to be breezy, borderline windy on Wednesday. Windy Wednesday. Say that 10 times fast. By 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, we could see some wind gusts outside of thunderstorms around 20 to 25 miles per hour because the wind field with this system is still decent as it moves inland. And then as the day goes on, you notice the center of Beryl, right around Indianapolis, Fort Wayne. But we've got those wind gusts kind of wrapping around like so, maybe closer to 30 or 35 miles per hour. So we could have a wind advisory on Wednesday. The criteria for that is 40 miles per hour, 40 mile per hour gust. So it's not out of the question, but it will be quite windy on Wednesday, in addition to keeping that chance for a few scattered storms. I don't anticipate this being at all, not even close to the windstorm of 2008, like we were talking about last night. If you all were around here to remember that, the Hurricane Ike windstorm, 75 mile per hour gusts across the whole region, that's not going to happen here. But we could have some gust around 30, maybe 40 miles per hour throughout the day on Wednesday. And then Beryl finally pushes off to the north and east, and we could say good riddance. Here's the 10-day earliest alert before we wrap things up on this Sunday night. 94 tomorrow. We mentioned hot and humid to start off the week. 90 on Tuesday with those scattered strong to severe storms around during the afternoon and the evening. And then we'll keep that chance for a few non-severe storms on Wednesday as the wind picks up behind Beryl. And that'll kind of keep us in the mid-80s. You notice the rain chances are very, very low once Beryl moves out starting Thursday. But that means the heat is back on, ladies and gentlemen, as we get towards next weekend. Here comes another heat wave. It looks like 92 on Saturday, 94 Sunday, 95 Monday and Tuesday, just like we saw back in June. Could be on the table yet again, starting this weekend, this upcoming weekend, I should say, into early next week. Summer still going on strong. We're really just halfway through it. Not even that, right? Only a few weeks in. A couple more comments before we sign things off tonight. Kay says, cut your grass on Monday, rain on Tuesday and Wednesday, cut your grass again on Thursday. Yeah, that definitely may be the case, Kay, this week. Probably so. Joseph says, we're not having storms like we had back in May. No. Not even close. Not even close. But these storms could still have gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe a brief spin up. But if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, is this going to be like Memorial Day weekend? No, not at all. Not at all. Those were intense. So nothing like that. But still stay weather aware on Tuesday. Of course, we're just now really getting into that range where we can see some high res data for Tuesday. So we'll continue to fine tune the Tuesday forecasts over the next 48 hours. Tawana will be here tomorrow morning. The rest of the crew will be here as well. giving you the latest updates as we get towards Tuesday. And of course, the updates on Beryl as it makes landfall in Texas overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. Any last call for comments before we wrap things up tonight? Appreciate you guys watching as always. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay cool. Stay hydrated tomorrow. I will leave you with that 10-day on the screen. See if it pops up. My computer's being a little laggy on me. Come on. Well, it'll do it eventually. Yeah, just keep an eye on the skies on Tuesday. We'll see how it all plays out. And again, some of you may not see a drop of rain out of this as we get towards Tuesday. So we shall see. All right, guys. There we go. Looks like it finally popped up there. Appreciate you watching as always. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. I'll see you on the TV side of things tonight at 11. Good night.